This is the post-purchase podcast. I am one of the co-hosts, which we're missing our other co-host, Seth Stevens, one of the co-founders of Post Purchase Pro. And today we have a very special guest with us, Mark Casey from House of AMZ. Mark, I'm super excited to have you here because we just did this amazing hacks training. And man, you submitted 3 hacks that made the cut. Your hacks were incredible. Really appreciate you coming on the show today and digging into your background here. Mark, welcome to the show.
For sure. Good morning. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
absolutely. So, Mark, take us back to the beginning for you. Where did you start in this business? How did you get to be Mark of House AMZ?
I mean, when it started was when I was a little kid because I was always into like business and I was always into just like hustling. Honestly, that's what everyone told. Everyone spoke about me when I was a kid that I'm just like always hustling. But I mean, I was always into marketing and branding and like that kind of idea. So I started doing that. I started creating and helping create brands and whatnot. So that's my background, more marketing and branding. Um, Fast forward a little bit, I started working under a brand with like in the health and beauty category, and I was just helping them kind of build up their brand. And they were on Amazon, and they were doing like I would say maybe 7 million a year or so. You know, they were doing okay. But then and it wasn't even for Amazon where I started. I just started helping them with their brand in general. But then they offered me a position in the Amazon space, and at that time it was like, yeah, around 7 8 years ago. They Amazon wasn't as big as it was now,
Yeah.
so I was like, oh no, I'm gonna pass on this. And they really pushed me, like, no, trust me, it's becoming really big. You should join in. I'm like, okay, fine. So I ended up doing it, and it was literally by accident that I started learning about Amazon and like what it is and all that kind of stuff. So fast forward even a little bit more. This brand is doing over $100 million. They're in CVS, Target, Walmart, Rite Aid, Ulta. Like they're in all the big brand stores. And that's kind of how I created our agency because I have a background in marketing and branding. And then now, I also have that Amazon knowledge. So when we create listings and we do all that kind of stuff, there's a lot of like thought and, like strategies that go behind it.
That's amazing, Mark. So, walk us back to the beginning of House AMZ. What is it? Why did you create it? And what are you guys doing now?
Sure. So House of AMZ in short is basically a marketing and SEO agency. It's not like full management, like we have like crazy retainers and whatnot. We created something that's very different. We created an agency, but that's kind of like a marketplace where you can go on our website and literally just add services to your cart and purchase it and check out. Because we made it in a way that you can get all of our experience and knowledge, but without the commitment of signing up and spending crazy money on an agency. So that's kind of what we do is that we help people optimize their listings and also launch their products on Amazon. That's our main focus. Um, and yeah, that's really what it is in short.
So you built all this expertise working for an Amazon store, basically, right? That had incredible success, and then you've taken that experience and built a whole team out to help other sellers through House of
Yeah,
AMZ.
exactly. I learned a lot there, and then what happened was actually someone like saw that, like, I'm very involved. Like when I'm involved in something and I'm passionate about it, I
Yeah,
really do it. And I started learning about like Amazon's algorithm, about SEO, about like what Amazon looks for in their ranking and all that kind of stuff. And I just started sharing it with a couple of people, and then someone asked me, hey, like, we're making a meetup. Would you like, like an event? Would you like to speak with this event? And I'm like, no, like I like speaking to people, but not like in public and everything, like a whole ordeal. So he's like, it'll be 40 people. It's fine. I'm like, okay, fine. I'll do it. So I show up, and a lot of people heard, oh, this guy's going to be speaking there. And like, I heard he has some like cool things to share. There's like 120 people in a small room waiting for me to speak. And this is my first time ever going to get up and speak. So I was like shocked. I was like nervous. I didn't know what to do, but at the end, it was really fun. And ever since there, I started like getting speaking opportunities and offers and webinars, podcasts. So yeah, I was really involved with the whole Amazon piece when I was there, and then also after, where I just got to learn things and then like think out of the box on how to implement these things.
that's amazing. So, Mark, you own the domain AmazonSEO.com, which is a great domain. But tell
Yeah.
us why, like, I know that's your expertise. Your hacks were all about, tricky ways to get an edge, and that's what gets you an edge on Amazon these days. But tell us,
Mhm.
what does the landscape of Amazon SEO look like right now? And then maybe go into a few things that most sellers are missing that they should be paying attention to.
For sure. So actually, it's always changing. It's always evolving, changing, and something is new. So you really have to always be on the lookout to see what's next. And that's kind of where I think out of the box, and I explain to people that by you thinking out of the box, by you thinking differently, and just taking that so to speak risk, that's where you're going to see your success. If you're just going to be like every other person, you'll sell regularly on average, but you're not going to make it to like the next level.
Yeah.
So when it comes to SEO specifically, there's a couple of things that Amazon looks for that if you're leaving out of your listing, then they're not going to rank you. So I would say, in short, is making sure you have the correct keywords in your listing, not overdoing it and stuffing the same keywords in your title, bullet points, and description. And one of the biggest mistakes I see people doing is that they're not utilizing their description or EBC properly. So when people upload A plus content, they'll put
Mhm.
a really nice design, but they'll forget that the description, the actual crawlable text, is what Amazon looks for to give you indexing and ranking. And many, many people leave that out whenever they're making their A plus content. And it's a huge mistake because that's a lot of opportunity, a lot of real estate right there.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So, Mark, what we drive traffic for sellers all the time using email and text marketing, and some of the things that they bring up to us, they have great businesses, but they don't really understand Amazon SEO.
Mhm.
So, we'll drive traffic using email of their existing customers and get them back on their Amazon listings, and they're asking us the questions. Well, what keywords will I be ranking for when this traffic hits my generic um, listing? Because it's not a tricky super URL or anything like that.
Yeah.
Driving high quality traffic back to their listing. So can you touch on what does that look like in terms of if I'm driving external traffic from Google or email or Facebook and I'm just landing them back on my listing? We see a huge benefit, but I want to hear from you. What does that look like in terms of SEO?
So I literally just spoke about this yesterday. Outside traffic is literally one of the main key components on ranking your listing. So it doesn't matter. Yeah, you're not going to get specific keyword ranking, but even just in general, when you're getting outside traffic, Amazon will reward you for that. And I mean, quite literally, they have like the brand referral bonus when you're
Yeah.
doing outside traffic. But anything like that, especially building your lead list, is one of the most important things because Amazon sees that you have repeat customers and they really value that really, really, like really, really big. When they see that people purchased from you in the past and they came back and bought more. So getting the initial sale, that's really big. But now imagine when all these people are coming back and repurchasing from you, it shows that you have a really good product and they will reward you for that as well.
Yeah. So what we're seeing, Mark, is if Amazon, if they can get a customer to land on Amazon.com anywhere, they know that they're going to make some money. And
Retargeting, yeah.
yeah, and so they're going to make money. So then what happens is if I can bring a customer that's happy to come back and buy again from the same store or the same product, it's coming from an external source. So Amazon's rewarding that traffic. They know how valuable it is and they're happy enough to buy that product again. You get a double boost to your keyword ranking. So that's what we're super excited about. But from your perspective, Mark, what gets you most excited about Amazon, the Amazon opportunity right now? If you were looking to really supercharge a listing right now, what are the handful of things that you would say, I've got to nail these things right now?
So yeah, so first of all, so even backing up outside traffic, yes, and I'll talk about that in a second. But people underestimate their listing itself. It has to be optimized. It has to look good. So now imagine you're spending all this money in PPC and outside traffic, but when they come
Yep.
to your listing, it sucks, or it just clearly it's not up to par. So you need to first of all stand out from competitors who are from like random like products from China and sellers who are from China will just put up a product, and you want to show people that you're an established brand. So even besides that point, you want to make sure your listing looks good, that people will actually buy it. Are you answering their questions of why they should purchase the product? Are you showcasing your features and everything up front and like clearly? These are really, really important things that people just think like, oh, I'll just put some nice images, I'll put white background images, and we're good. No, there's a lot more to it that you really have to kind of answer that. People are very visual. No one's taking their time to read your description and bullet point nowadays. You need to be really, really visual. So
Yeah.
when I say, yeah, outside traffic and PPC and whatever, all that is really good. But if you don't have a solid listing, all that money is not going to go anywhere. just kind of burning cash.
So what you would say is focus on the conversion first. What does your listing look like? What keywords do you have loaded into it, and how well does it speak to your target customers? So we have some sellers who reach out to us and they say, "Can you use email to help my business?" And what they really meant to say was, "Can you save my business?" And we look at their
Mhm.
listings and they have 3.5 stars. No one actually likes their product, and their listing doesn't look very well. Doesn't look very good. So how are we supposed to take a product that no one wants, no one has a good experience with, and turn it into a successful business? And you just can't. You have to build the foundation of the business has to be the customer's experience with your good product. So I really appreciate appreciate that, Mark. So anything else you want to drop little nuggets? I know you're full of all these quick strategies and tips. Any hacks or strategies that you'd like to share before we move into a different segment of our show?
Sure. Well, so I mean, just because you mentioned it came to mind is that you, just like you said, you have a 3-star product, but you have a whole bunch of inventory in Amazon. So this is what I mentioned on the hacks the other day was there's a service called ASIN Doctor, and what they'll do is they'll transfer all your inventory from ASIN A to ASIN B. So in short, what you do is you create a new ASIN, and then the service transfers all your inventory within Amazon, and you don't need to make a removal order, you don't need to relabel anything, and you close the first listing, so you're starting fresh. You have all your inventory there, and all the reviews are going to be removed. So in many cases like that, where you're already stuck with the product, you're already stuck with the
Hmm.
inventory, you don't want to do all of that. That's like a quick tip that you can really start from scratch.
Yeah, that's great. So if you launched a product and you had a product issue and you got a bunch of negative reviews, so you're sitting there at 3 stars, but you have all that inventory sitting in Amazon that's fixed, or you don't think you'll have a problem with it. If you used a website or a service like ASIN Doctor, like Mark suggested, you can basically get a fresh start without having to remove the inventory and send it back in. That's a really good hack, Mark. So let's move into the final part of our show here. We like to ask a couple fun questions here.
Okay.
So, Mark, you've been in business a long time. You were doing it since you were a kid. Do you have any favorite business books?
Business books. I'm really not a book reader, but one book I did find interesting that I liked was Never Split the Difference.
Yeah.
I found that very interesting because it also makes you think outside the box, and I'm all about that. So I don't really read books, but that's one that I enjoyed.
Well, you picked up a bunch of knowledge from somewhere, Mark. So, do you have any resources or or
Honestly,
anything to
that's
suggest?
just networking with people. Like, I
Yeah.
really just worked hard to network with different people, and I wasn't afraid to ask, like, if someone didn't know something, then okay, so just recommend it to someone else. I really want to know and get down to the bottom of this, especially now where a lot of people are coming up with new tactics and everything, and I want to know how it's done. I will push and I'll find out how it's done. So yeah.
Amazing. All right, Mark. So, our second question's a fun one. Um, when you're in business, you like to make money, but sometimes it seems like we just get distracted with making money for the sake of making money. But what about in your life, Mark? Have you bought anything that you would consider a splurge but you did not regret it? So for me, I bought a ping pong table. It wasn't really a splurge, but man, I had a heck of a lot of time or a heck of a lot of fun playing ping pong with my friends. So anything in your life come to mind that you spent some money on that you did not regret?
I buy a lot of things. I know many people will say their car, but I mean, I always like to say your education, you spend the most money on
Yeah.
it. That's that. But what I'll say is experience. I know it's a really out of the box random answer, but
Yeah.
kind of the experience is that whenever you lose out, or you make a mistake and you lose a lot of money, I would say that costed me a lot, but I don't regret it. Now I know for the future what to do and what
That
not
was
to
an
do.
investment, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So there's your out of the box answer.
I love it, Mark. This whole episode's out of the box. So,
Yeah.
so Mark, if people want to come and find out more about you and what you're doing at House of AMZ, where should we send them?
Well, so AmazonSEO.com is our domain, and we're also on LinkedIn and whatnot. But yeah, I always love to chat and always love to meet new people.
Well, Mark, I can tell you one thing. You're definitely a marketer at heart. You're a list builder. We fundamentally believe the same about the business. You have to take care of the customer, and then you always need an edge. So, anybody that wants to grow on Amazon should definitely check Mark out, AmazonSEO.com, or look up Mark on LinkedIn. He's definitely been a whirlwind of information for me. Thanks so much for the participation in the Hacks webinar, man. That was amazing. So,
Yeah, for sure.
appreciate having you on, and we look forward to hosting you on an upcoming webinar.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, it
Thanks
was
so much.
short and sweet. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.